What is good, guys? Charles from TEAMCOG coming to you guys here with a post-commentary remote duel video. For those who don't know, I took Plunder last week into core TCG remote duel. Ended up going 2-3 with them, guys, and I gotta tell you guys, like, core TCG, it is just a plethora of Dragon Link, Infernobles, just top tier decks. But without further ado, guys, let's just go ahead and jump into this. And if you guys like that map that you see me playing on, go ahead and check the link down below. We actually have a new mat out called Girsu Rising and World Legacy Heroes, which is just beautiful. Really can't say much about it, but here your boy is piloting, almost said Thunder Dragon, Plunder patrols on the right, and then we have Altergiest on the left. And as you can see, he's kind of firing off here using that Haunted Rock to bring out, I believe, which will be Multi-Faker. I'm not entirely sure the full effect of Haunted Rock. I just know it allows him to like summon out Multi-Faker, but here Multi-Faker is activated. I'd attempt to Ash it. Not even thinking if he had one in hand or anything like that, but it is what it is. You know, nobody likes playing against Altergeist. Nobody likes Altergeist, but he's contemplating. Now, my assumption is he'll set a few cards, and look, he's setting one, and things are kind of looking kind of good on my part here. Just simply because there's one. So we see spoofing activating, sending back the faker to add back the faker, and then summon the faker, and then he's going to get a Siliquitous bounce. And that's just, that's just kind of crazy. But not entirely too bad. I'm going to fire off my terraforming here just to get Plunder Patrol Shipyard, but he's going to, I believe, Ash that because he's fearful of Mystic Mine. So now that Ash is out of the way, I know I can fire off my desires and just get a lot of advantage here. And that's really that's what Plunder wants, is hand advantage. So banishing 10 cards. Hopefully, I can't remember what my hand was in this scenario, but banishing these 10 cards, I'm hoping to draw into just more extenders like Whitebeard, Golden Hair, etc. And if I remember right, I gotta be fearful of this Siliquitous bounce. However, I know if I can get to Blackbeard, I can dodge that bounce, which is important. It just depends if he'll let me get to Blackbeard or not. And I believe he was unfamiliar with the deck because he lets me get to Blackbeard. But again, I don't know what is in his hand. I don't know maybe what he was thinking. Maybe he is familiar with Plunder Patrols. Not entirely sure. Thinking about my plays, I seem to normal summon Redbeard here. Arg, Redbeard touches down. And then Redbeard's summon is fine. He's choosing not to Siliquitous bounce here. Which again, if my hand is straight fire, it would be foolish to Siliquitous, but I don't think my hand was that good, so it would have been appropriate here. But, hindsight, he didn't know what my hand was. But Angler touches down. After the summon of Angler is successful, he has no responses. We go ahead, and this is where we make Blackbeard. Going into the captain himself. Blackbeard will attempt to go into battle phase to poke towards the Siliquitous to force a Siliquitous, because now I'm in a commanding state because he only has spoofing and a Siliquitous bounce, and I can dodge that Siliquitous bounce. And the thing about attributes is I can tag out. I actually choose to tag out into a Brawn, I think, but if you look at the field, we have a Dark, Light, and Wind, so I could go into Liss, I could go into Morik. Like, it's just, this is why Altergeist is such a good matchup for Plunders, because they give us all the attributes. And right now I'm just explaining to him what Blackbeard does, because if you're unfamiliar with what Plunders do, it is quite confusing that they are practically Cosmos, except from the extra deck, which is extremely cool. And yeah, so it looks like we're going to be is he going to bounce? What's he going to do? I think he's thinking on what he's going to do. I think that a Siliquitous bounce is the appropriate thing to do. However, just by letting me get to this, Blackbeard's just too good. So he's going to use Siliquitous to bounce back the Marionetter. I'm going to then chain, and I probably should have gone into Morik, but instead I go into Brawn because Brawn's just going to do a lot of work here. Blackbeard's effect will let me draw a card, and then I can start. And then, I can draw a card, and then Siliquitous will resolve, bouncing back the Blackbeard. So Brawn's out here, not as a quick effect, but something to always remember is even though he's not a quick effect, you can still discard cards from your hand on your turn to activate the effect. So do just keep that in mind. I know spoofing is a problem card because it can activate almost every turn. And right here he tries a spoofing again, but I just confirm that, he he's already used it this turn to bring out Faker. And thinking about what I'm going to do. I must have discarded... I guess I'm kind of confused on how... Yeah, how... There we go. I guess I was really confused on why spoofing went away, but it looks like I'm going to fire off Foolish Burial of Goods, which will probably send Ship Shape Ship Shipping. Ship Shape Ship Shipping will then let me equip the Mork. And I think I make a minor misplay here. And I'll show you guys future. I should have just stayed with a Mork. Brawn, excuse me. I should have stayed with a Brawn instead of a Liz, Mork, Brawn. They all confuse me, but I should have stayed with Brawn here. But you guys will see, I guess it's 50-50 what I really did, because both avenues had like interactions that were really good. But as you guys see here, I'm going to banish Ship Shape Ship Shipping, and I think I'm going to equip, I can't remember, I think I go for Emblem. So actually, I don't banish, he ends up DD crowing that one, so then I just use Mork's effect, pitching the Ship Shape Ship Shipping in my hand to banish the spoofing. So now, this is actually really cool, because since he DD crowed, I can attack over Siliquitus. Siliquitus will get an effect, add back a spell. But by him DD crowing the spell before I could activate the effect was actually really pivotal here, because then I just activate the second Ship Shape Ship Shipping that I pitched off of Brawn. And this is where I make the kind of a questionable play. I equipped Emblem, and Emblem is really good in this matchup because it boosts my Brawn to 3,000 and it's untargetable. And hindsight, I probably should have stayed with this, but instead I think I go for, I use Emblem to make the Brawn tag into a Blackbeard so I can continue to dodge those effects. And I really don't see no need doing that because, you know, like, I was in just such a controlling standpoint here. But I guess I was getting greedy and wanted that Blackbeard draw. I mean, it's, you know, we are pirates, arg, so we want to get those pluses. So we see that Blackbeard touches down, equipped it with Brawn. I pass it over to him, and I decide to just hold and wait. And a good thing here is, since he does have Ash in the grave, I can go into another Brawn if he tries to force anything, which is pretty good. He only has 3 cards in hand. I know one is a Marionetter, and I think one is a Haunted Rock. So that means I'm sitting pretty solid, to be honest with you, because Haunted Rock doesn't really do much of anything. I mean, as soon as he sets Haunted Rock, or if he summons Marionetter and then activates the effect, I'll banish whatever he sets off Marionetter. And the Marionetter actually gives me a light, so I could go into Liss and then negate like multi-faker and stuff like that in the hand if he gets it. But I really want to play, this is where Brawn just really kind of shines through in this matchup, just being able to snipe back row, especially when they don't set a lot. In his case, he only set 1. So we're going to normal summon the Marionetter, but I actually have Effect Veiler, which is going to stop the Marionetter right in its tracks. And then I think he decides to try to go into battle, because I think Marionetter is 100 stronger than Blackbeard. And I just preemptively tag into another one. Another Brawn, maybe. Yep, so he swings in. I decide to use Blackbeard to go for, I believe, another Brawn. So then that Brawn falls off, equipping to another Brawn, drawing a card. And he just confirms that that one is the banishing one for spell and traps, and I, assure him that it is. And looking at his hand, now I am a 2500 beat stick that I don't think they can get over. So I draw for turn, and I have 3 cards in hand, and I do not believe I actually had a Plunder card in my hand, to be honest with you. So actually I do. I think I have Shipyard in my hand, and I wanted to get kind of greedy to kind of push for additional damage. So I activate Shipyard. I activate Shipyard's effect. And I'm just explaining to him now that the Shipyard is giving a boost, so now my Brawn is exactly 3000. Pitching a Pot of Desires, which, hindsight, no matter what I chose, it was going to get ashed. So Ash is stopping Shipyard. And that's kind of painful, but at the same time, it's not horribly painful. I didn't want to use that Desire since I already used the Desires early this turn. So I think now this is where we're just going to wrap it up and go into the next game, because after that, he just concedes. He fears Brawn just being able to control the back row, and I'm continually going to be able to poke at him. He just was losing resources. So here he starts out with Pot of Extravagance, which is just such a good card. Like, there's certain cards I'm really happy that exist. Like Pot of Extrav is one of them. Pot of Desires, Pot of Avarice. They're just overall good cards. So he banishes 6 cards to draw 2. So Altergiest just practically abuses this card because the only thing they ever want to summon is Hextia. And in my hand, I have Twin Twisters and Red Reboot, and I make an awful misplay here. And you guys will see that coming up here. But Marionetter attempts to fire off, and I have another Effect Veiler for it, but he has the one of Called by the Grave. That sure must be nice to see the solid one of. If you guys don't know me, I get pretty salty with one ofs, I'm not gonna lie. I think when it comes to one ofs, it's not really a lot of probability, but it's luck that's on your side, especially when you see those powerful ones. And then it's a lot of bad luck if you're me and you play Crusadia, and you get the one of Crawler in your hand all the time. But right here, he's going to do the best thing that Altergeist can do and combo off, summoning out the Multi-Faker off of the Haunted Rod, grabbing himself the Milliseek, and then linking into a Hextia, which then will get him a search for... I think he goes for another Faker, and then like you can even link the Hextia into a Link Cross, getting yourself another search. It's actually quite crazy, like the combo that, like, kind of like the combo it has. You know, like, it's interesting interaction. Hextia is touching down, and Hextia is a spell and trap negate, if I remember right. And he's getting that search for Multi-Faker off of the Milliseek, linking those two into, I believe, another Hextia. Then triggering the effect of the Hextia Engrave to get a search. That seems to be the only form of interruption I opened was the Effect Veiler, and sadly it just got beamed out of the sky by Call by the Grave, but you know, it is what it is. It's a pirate's life, I tell you. And adding that manifestation, and I actually forgot totally that manifestation was corrected. And by corrected, I mean it's like its text was updated to where like even if it leaves the field, it summons the monster still and all that type of crazy stuff. But he ends up setting, I believe, 2. I draw for turn and go to draw phase, standby phase. And now, of course, during the standby phase, I'm waiting for a response from the Altergeist player. I wanted to see what he fires off. I know he has manifestation, but I actually attempt to activate an effect, but he ends up saying standby phase, firing off manifestation, and I have Red Reboot in hand, and this is where I should have booted, but instead, I actually chain Twin Twisters, and the Titty Twisters was not a good choice here. Horrible misplay on my part. And you guys can see, I was kind of contemplating it, but for some reason, you know, I ended up Titty Twistering, pitching Emblem, Hextia comes out, and then all these things happen. Faker will resolve because manifestation, and as soon as I see the Faker, I just scoop it up and we go into the next game, because at this point I was like, man, that horrible misplay left me a little bit tilted. So now I'm going to attempt to go first, and I just have to set one and pass. So one of the great things about Plunders, guys, is there's only 12 of them, and if you don't happen to see a single one of them, you really can't play. And only 2 of them, or excuse me, only like 2.5 of them are like starters and playable. But that Altergeist Marionetter is met with an Effect Veiler for the 3rd time this duel. He pokes in for a whopping 1700, I believe. And it's not looking good for me. I really need to draw something really good to kind of get my plays going. And he's going to set 2 cards. And oh boy, it's not looking too good. However, I draw for turn. I think I ripped a Red Reboot. So now that I ripped this Red Reboot, I know that I'm pretty much comfortable in what I'm doing. Or excuse me, I don't think I ripped Red Reboot. I think I had it in my hand, but I think I drew like Shipyard or something like that. Something to get my plays going. So it's really like, now that I know that I have Red Reboot in hand, I practically am safe from anything short of a Judgment. So that's really good for me. I normal summon, oh wow, I normal summon Bluebeard. I reveal Silent Angler, excuse me, the summon itself. And here I decide to link into, safely, like, confidently link into Blackbeard. And here I kind of got to remember Blackbeard is not like the Redbeard and Whitebeard. He's a quick effect. He doesn't have to wait till the opponent's turn. So what I should do is I need to remember that I need to poke with Blackbeard. And I end up discarding a card, Effect Veiler. I'm very let's see, I discard Effect Veiler. He ends up perming and ashing. Okay, so I end up activating Bluebeard in Graveyard as a chain link. That's what ends up happening. So he ends up ashing the Bluebeard, or see, this is where on camera we kind of have a mixed communication, he ends up actually, wow, I can't believe So this is, yeah, so I was correct in that scenario in the argument. So he attempts to, Ash the, excuse me, I activate Bluebeard as Bluebeard. He then ashes, or he then tries to, in-perm, and then I'm supposed to tag out for List here, but he ends up in-perming the Blackbeard. So technically wow, that was very confusing. He in-perms the Blackbeard, I chain Blackbeard, he then ashes the Blackbeard. So somewhere in there I should have got a draw, I guess, is at the end of the day. And that's, you know, hindsight, it is what it is. But we're going to see Marionette touchdown again, and can we stop it? But actually on the summon of Marionette, I'm going to attempt to chain Blackbeard, meeting another in-perm. So 2 in-perms and Ash. Not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, at least I only have to worry about 1 more in-perm and 2 more ashes, am I right? Man, I'm kind of... Another thing you guys need to remember is if you play remote duels, be stern in your ways and like everything like that. Don't give in. Don't have any slack, because people will take advantage of that. And I'm very awful at that. I'll give people slack when they don't need it and stuff like that. And they've been at least 3 times I can count that's cost me a game in the entire match. So he decides to set Hunter Rock, then he takes it back. And this is what I'm talking about. The card was set. You guys should have, like, if that happens in a tournament, like 100% guys, once his hand leaves the card, I kind of count it as, all right, it's firm. I shouldn't allow it to be taken back. But here I am being a little bit too friendly, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're all trying to win. And it's just certain things, like, as long as to me, if your hand leaves the card, then, it should count. But he's getting kind of greedy here. He's going to shoot in for double or nothing. He detaches, and right here, I'm about to stare down a Utopia OTK. I check my set card, but I actually have an Ash Blossom for that. Saving my day here. So I know he has a protocol set. He sets another card, and he has 1 card in hand. So right here, I draw for turn. I think I have a, booty set, be honest with you. I can't remember what I drew to actually be secondary, honest with you. I don't remember what I drew. But I think I'm going to attempt to activate Blackbeard here for a 3rd time, trying to get it to resolve, going down into List, because, you know, the only thing... I think, well, he has a light on field. He probably has a... He has an Ash Engrave, so I can go into List or Brawn. And either one's good. So I go into Brawn, draw a card. I think my draw was pretty good, to be honest with you. We're going to use Brawn's effect, pitching Shipyard, to banish one of the set. Probably the set I don't know. And then I can't really see what it is, to be honest with you. But then I'm going to... Since I pitched to banish a spell or trap, I get to add a monster, and I get to add Whitebeard. So here's where the steamroll starts to begin. The pirate ship set sail. The Crusade's navy can't be stopped at this moment. We're going to use, I believe, Shipyard to bounce back the Blackbeard to set the Shipyard, activating Shipyard, pitching the Whitebeard from my hand, which is just going to allow me to steamroll into even more advantage. I pitch, come on Charles, pitch Whitebeard. Whitebeard goes at the Captain Jack Sparrow of the deck, if you ask me. Yeah, and that's going to beam me out. Probably another Redbeard, my guess would be. That's what I'm thinking. It has to be Redbeard, because I can't summon... Yep, there's Redbeard. Oh, yep, that's perfect. Just confirming that it doesn't have to summon in defense. And then I actually do, yeah, this is where I have booty set, and my booty is going to come into play here, because I'm going to be able to bring back that Whitebeard. And this would give me like 2 other disruptions, to be honest with you. So booty, targeting the list, I just keep it alight. Or not, excuse me, targeting list. Targeting the Utopia Devil, keeping it alight, or making it alight. And now everything's gaining 500, so Bronze 3000, Whitebeard is 2000, and Redbeard is 15. So I'm just going to attempt to poke in for a lot of damage. So, poke in, taking down the double, then swinging in for 15 and 25, which I believe is 4,000. and I decide to, I believe, set a card. So this is actually very interesting because if I set a card, that means I don't have any cards to pitch for Plunder effects, which means that all my interaction I have is actually null and void. So we were just waving my hands because, you know, when you play on remote duels, your screens can freeze. Actually, wow, looks like I'm going to go ahead and fire into a... fire into a Blackbeard, and then the matey will equip to the Brawn. So now it's practically top deck or nothing off of the Blackbeard. So we transition to main phase, fire off Blackbeard, go into list, draw a card. I think I draw a Golden Hair. So it's a Plunder card no matter what, so my interactions are pretty live, and especially since as soon as I can banish something with the Brawn, I can add another Plunder monster, and then List can special summon that matey, giving me another form of disruption. It's actually quite crazy. He's going to try to fire off Pot of Extravagance. Now this card can actually bail him out of here because something very interesting about Plunder Patrols is they do not have a Spell and Trap Negate yet. The closest thing we have is Adamantipator Risen. So then he's going to banish 6, draw 2, and I gotta hope that my ships can hold the line. The Armada here can hold off. The Navy doing the Navy's thing. The man is shuffling so fast I can almost see steam flying off of his cards. We're going to see a normal summon of Milliseek, and this is actually very, very, very interesting. With the normal summon of Milliseek, he's going to attempt to attack directly. It happens in damage step, but guess what Liz does? It negates activation, so it can activate in the damage step. So he's not going to be able to send my my list. So then I pitch the Golden Hair, destroying, negating, and destroying the Milliseek. I think that's the one. And then your boy List here is going to get us another search. And it looks like here he's checking his graveyard. So I end up adding, I think, a shipping to my hand. Or no, yep, I end up adding the shipyard. But that's going to end up wrapping it up for the game, guys.